So the problem a lot of times with your basic sociopathic mind, whether sociopaths are usually come through environments or genetically predisposed, many times through addiction, or lower, sometimes propensity for lower intelligence, all that stuff, many times due to their the environments they were raised in, or the genetics they received from whatever, intergenerational trauma or whatever. Like, they usually, what I'm trying to say is they're not planners. they're takers, of course, but so is it, like, call it criminals a taker. They are people who are very driven by their immediate desires, impulses. They are in it for the short time. They're in it for the biggest bang, for the, lowest buck that they can put out. Like, they are very self-seeking, but it's almost like a self-seeking that gives them immediate gratification, but no long-term or no ability to do something consistently that's positive and going to reap a result that they could sustain. That's usually not what they're thinking, because they're pretty much incapable of thinking that, like, for all these reasons, right? So that's like their lives are not serving that, that's not on the table. Okay, what else is it? Oh, okay, this other device. Amazing. All right, so your low-level offender may have, well, this is obvious, less access to financial system, organizational power. Their crime is more direct. Take something, break something, threaten somebody, steal something, immediate gratification, like I said. A sophisticated financial fraud can destroy people's life savings, affect thousands of victims, whereas a minor theft, though, like if you're the person whose car got broken into and the whole radio got stolen out of, or music system, or, like their windows are all broke, or like that affects one person. I mean, that affects that one person quite severely, but it's still one person. A white-collar crime is sustained over a longer period of time because, as I said, ordinary-looking people can maintain a positive self-image while committing serious wrongdoing over long periods of time. They often say these things to themselves. I deserve this. I'll pay it back. I'm smart enough to know how to put it back and nobody will notice. I can make it back. I'm a whiz at this. I know things other people don't. I'm made for this. I'm not really hurting anybody because these are just, it's just imaginary piles of money, right? It's not like Bernie Madoff was basically playing with imaginary stocks and bonds that he had in his head, right? They weren't actually real because he never actually did any real trading, even though he had a trading business. So Bernie, the Ponzi scheme depends heavily on trust, reputation, and the main thing that I'm trying to state is appearance of legitimacy, which is, it's just such a big deal because so many times it's how we're perceived by other people who are in places that could actually help us, that if they overlook us or don't take us seriously, that can damage even the ends to the means we deserve. Like just one chink in that armor is going to cause, the one area weak point where somebody can stick a knife in and kill you. The ability to appear trustworthy can be actually part of the mechanism of the crime. Let's see what else. Low-level crime often involves direct opportunity or confrontation. White-collar crime often involves access, trust, and deception. And both of these paths are rigged with dopamine hits, and like it gives whoever's doing that sort of that feeling, like, I guess people say if they have like a passionate affair or something, like if in a book they'll go for this passionate affair against their family or whatever, but it's like they're in for the thrill of the moment, really not because of legitimate basis of reality, right? So it's like that can burn off quickly, and then they're left with a huge damage control to their status quo or their mainstay. But it's like that they're so caught up they weren't thinking about that, which is usually what happens with these people in both situations. Like they're so focused on what they can gain and like how great that's gonna feel, and they actually get hits of power, ego, the secrecy even makes it alluring, or satiate some kind of lustful or predatory desires are fulfilled if they're sadistic, or they get off on watching other people suffer, or they enjoy being puppet masters, and they enjoy watching people struggle with what they're trying to do to them. Like that's part of what they like the control over other people. It's like they're watching a play that they are the director of. All of that is part of all this. It's like that's how it kind of goes on for so long, because it's like they're getting a high from sustaining this whole operation. Because in the end, why would an extremely wealthy person risk everything to become even more wealthy? It doesn't actually make any legitimate sense. It's like maybe a little bit more wealthy, but it's like these people are throwing everything away, and Bernie Madoff ended up throwing his own sons under the bus. One died of cancer within, I think it was 3 years of the crime, and the other one killed himself, I think 2 years after the crime. So it's like he lost more in his personal life. And what was it worth? Like what, unless he wanted to be famous for being infamous. Sometimes people are so enthralled by fame or being their publicity whores to the point where it's like even bad press, or being infamous for being a criminal of somebody who got away with something for so long, like that even feeds their ego, or that even like he was here's an example. He was extremely well respected at the prison he ended up in, because he was such a highbrow, super successful in their minds, criminal mastermind. It's like, wow, you really did it. Okay. Okay. That's more important to you than your own children's lives, then okay. That's just you. You stay over there. I'm over here. All right. I think I'm gonna stop here, and I'll come back. Later tonight I'm gonna do a video on Under a Banner of Heaven. I want to keep going with cults and sort of the psychology behind them.